It was something that stunned me. And then I had to figure out the theory of why it happened and why it occurred. And we have exclusive video footage that you're going to see in a moment. But before you look at it, you need an explanation or it's not going to make any sense whatsoever. Directly behind me in this picture is called the Western Wall. It's located in the city of Jerusalem. Above it is what's called the Temple Mount, where the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock sit to this day. And these are sites that's holy to the Islamic world. The Western Wall is not a part of the ancient Jewish temple, as some believe, but the Western Wall is the Western Wall there on the Temple Mount area. And what this was a retaining wall when Herod was going to expand the Temple Mount area. Back in his day, he was a huge builder, Herod was, that they built this wall and laid these stones in place to hold up the extra dirt that would be laid there. And, you know, it's a retaining wall, to be quite honest with you, but it's a place where Jews have prayed ever since they returned back to the city of Jerusalem, and especially after 1967, and there's continual prayer there. Well, several years ago, my guide, that you don't see his face in this in the picture, but this is Gideon Shore, one of the top Israeli tour guides, very close friend who passed away recently. Gideon says, I want you to go with me. We're going to do an experiment at the wall. And he says, I'm going to show you something that's amazing. Well, I thought he meant the actual stones of the wall, but instead he goes to the kitchen and he asks for a knife. Now, let me say this up front. You can't carry weapons or knives in. There's security spots. You probably would get arrested, but he is well known. He was in the U.S., the Israeli military. People knew him at the wall. The guards knew him. And he got permission to do this, to make this experiment with the man who had the keys, Yeshua, and with the guards. But he played a trick on me. I won't go into the trick he played when I went through the security area, but they knew he was coming to do it's almost like a scientific experiment. All right, here's what happens. So we go into, let me move over here so I can show you. This area that's lit up here is a tunnel. It's an archway and a tunnel. If you walk into that tunnel, that's called today the Western Wall Heritage Foundation tunnels. And this is where you see the continuation of the wall that heads to the north. You walk through this tunnel, you walk through this canyon. You can actually see Mount Moriah from Abraham's day. It is very fascinating. And by the way, we saw this for the first time in the late 80s and early 90s when they were excavating and digging. We would go at night. Okay, this is a night trip. There's hardly anybody at the wall praying but a handful of men. We go into the tunnel, then it was called the Rabbi's Tunnel, which is back in here. And we're walking down and we stop and we get to a stone that weighs something like 400 tons, if I remember. It's one of the largest stones on the wall. Now, we are underground. The continuation of the wall is in front of us, but you have to remember it's at night. There's no buses, cars, streets, people are sleeping, so there's no movement. So what you're about to see is not caused by the movement of activity taking place, because you can put your hands on that wall and these are stones on top of each other that weigh tons. So Gideon comes and he takes this long knife and he inserts it between two of the stones, and he steps back and we look, and all of a sudden that knife starts vibrating. It's not a huge vibration, but it's enough to see. And I'm like, wait a minute, the knife is vibrating. He said, yes, of course. And then I said, no, wait a minute, Gideon, do that again. And I had him repeat it over and over, different parts of the wall. And there at the wall, this knife that was about that long, had a handle to it, would vibrate. Oh, and he didn't push it. There was no trickery there. And he said, this happens here, and it also happens at the pyramids of Egypt. And so I was curious, and he says, I said, what's the explanation? And he had no explanation. He says, we do not know, but he says this takes place. So I had a friend of mine named David Van Koevering, who was a master of sound. He helped invent the keyboards many years ago with the crystal that it uses. And David Van Koevering had a theory, and his theory was this, that stone is the best conduit for sound. Now, what do I mean by that? David had a theory, and remember, he's a scientist. He's a teacher, but he's also very scientific minded. He is a genius, by the way. And so he says, my theory is this, that rock or stone holds the sounds that have been spoken in its presence for decades and centuries and millennium. And then he takes me to Joshua, where Joshua is saying the commandments and commanding Israel to obey it. And Joshua makes this statement, this stone has heard all the words which the Lord has spoken. Then he took me to the time of Christ, where the people were rebuking the people for worshiping Christ, and the Pharisees told them to be quiet. And Jesus makes a statement, if these do not praise me, the stones will cry out. Now, the stones, some refer to the children or the Gentiles, metaphorically. But it's real interesting. He talks about the stones crying out. So David Van Koevering said that all the Western Wall, and it would take me an hour to explain his theoretical idea or theory, but he said all the stones of the wall, every prophet, every priest, every king, every prayer, he said the words are embedded in these rocks. And he talked about the protons, the neutrons, he talked about the tachyons, and this is all scientific terms. And he said it can be proven because of when sound goes in, there is something that does come out, but the rest of it retains. So my point is that he believed when he saw this knife shaking, that it was the energy that was connected to the thousands and thousands of words and prayers that were said that was embedded in the rock. And he actually was working on, before he passed away, was working on the theory of being able to take rock and somehow get out the words and the messages that were spoken. Now, before you say that's impossible, look at what AI is doing, okay? And secondly, consider that the Bible says that every word you've spoken that's an idle word is recorded in heaven. Every word spoken is recorded somehow in heaven, or the books of heaven, that can be replayed one day. So I wanted to show you this. I thought you would find it very intriguing. There'll be different men. I know men that are scientists. I know men that are physicists, and I know men that are geniuses, and I'm sure they have their own theory as to why this happened. But I thought it was very, very, very intriguing. You know, maybe it's the electromagnetic energy. Maybe it's spiritual energy. It's just interesting to say the least. So I had to show this to you, and I want you to share this video with people you know that like this kind of thing, you know, and also hit the like button one time, and it helps the algorithm, of course. And we always want to remind you to go to perrystone.org for information and for resource material. Perry Stone Ministries, you have to put that in their Facebook page, where I update you about every day, every other day. We also have videos there, and also we put videos about twice a week, including the Manifest channel is 3 times a week on the Perry Stone YouTube channel. So please subscribe to the channel. We're almost up to 1 million subscribers, and you can help put us over the top. Keep watching, because if you've ever watched before, you know that there's special offers that we show you at the end of the videos. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.
Perry Stone is now making available his new landmark book, Prophetic Alert. Stunning new insights reveal what is coming soon, which explores and explains numerous, often unknown and untaught prophetic triggers that will lead to the rapture and the future Great Tribulation. Here are some of the 20 chapters. Ezekiel's War and the Rapture Link. The confusion over who is Gog of Magog. God versus Gog. Big hooks and little jaws. How can the Antichrist overpower a militarily armed Israel? Iran, land of the assassins and the gate of the gods. The spirit of Cain in the land of the east. Satan's main principality ruling in Middle East nations. The coming angelic cosmic wrestling match. Why do many Muslims dislike the Jews and Israel? The prophetic vision of the serpent in Gaza. When the abyss releases the destroying angel. Kings of the East and 1.5 billion Hindus in prophecy. When a dead head rises again. God's 4 weapons of destruction that are coming. Does the Bible hint at a nuclear war? You will learn great prophetic insight from these chapters and more. When you order the Prophetic Alert book with your gift of $25 or more, Perry will also select and include in this offer a mystery CD, a surprise audio message on CD. To order, visit perrystone.org or call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD. That's 1-888-212-7323, or write to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. When writing, include your payment and offer number AB151. This is a very timely and important prophetic read for every Christian and all who love Bible prophecy. Your purchase is what helps keep Manifest on the air worldwide. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Whether audio or video, it's a timely, impactful word, ready whenever you are.